In today's Cricut tutorial, we're going to take one of these cards to create this Christmas shaker card. Let's make this. My inspiration for this project is these shaker cake toppers and shaker cards and things like that. I love them. I think they look great. I haven't done enough practice with them, and this is really one of those times that I'm just using this platform to help me practice a new skill. So I've gone through and I've had a look at a whole heap of different shaker cards and shaker cake toppers and things like that, and I think that they are so festive and so fun. So I just want to see if we can make one. Materials you'll need for today's project are actually quite substantive compared to a lot of my other projects. You will need a standard grip and a light grip mat. You'll need some cardstock. I've got Christmas cardstock that I got from Spotlight, but if you can use any cardstock, glitter cardstock would be great for this. Even just a plain colour probably would be great as well. Then I've got some clear acetate. Now that's a Cricut branded clear acetate. I'm not sure what other brands are out there. You could also use laminate sheets. You could just run them through a laminator without anything in between, and you could use those as well as your clear component of this. I've got some craft foam here that I've got from Officeworks, so you'll need that to help with your creating a buffer. And then I've got a card stack or a blank card stack that are a Cricut brand, but you can use any brand you like. You could use cardboard if you like. Other things you will need as well are some foam tape, some hot glue, and you probably need a pen or something to help embellish your little design. So I'm going to do today's project all in Design Space. You could use Canva or something like that to help you with your design, but everything that we need is really in Design Space. So I'm going to start by creating a guide. So this is the size and the shape of our card as created by Cricut. So I've just done a square and I've made it 12 centimetre by 12 centimetres. And then I'm going to upload some images. So I've got 3 images that I'm going to use. There's one of just Juniper on her own, and there's a photo of April, and there's a photo of myself. They're all Christmas photos from a couple of years ago. So I'm just doing an upload to start with. Now, I've started with Junipers. I'm just going to apply that and continue. I'm just doing it as a flat graphic. And it will take a little bit of time because this is a big image. It's going to take a little bit of time to upload. But once I upload it, then I'm going to change the size and make it about 5 centimetres. Just to start with, I will adjust it as we go. But I'm just going to start with 5 centimetres because I need all 3 photos to fit on our card. So I'm just going to do the same thing for the next 2 photos. I'm not going to repeat that because it's a little bit boring, but yeah, I'll just repeat that process and now I've got 3 photos. So then I'm going to do an image search for a Christmas ornament. I'm looking for the shape mainly. I'm not necessarily looking for a design or anything like that, but I'm looking for that shape. So I've chosen a free shape. So go up to the filter, change that to free. And I'm just going to go with this one that says joy on it because it looks like it's a cutting file rather than a graphic or anything like that. And you can see on the right hand side that if I look at the group, it comes in 2 parts. So the topper is one part and the actual ornament is a second part. And the ornament's got to subtract. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to start with the actual bauble, and I'm going to go down to combine, and I'm going to click on undo subtract. Then I can get rid of the word joy, and you can see now that it's become a shape on its own. The other thing is with the topper, it's got a drawing component of it, which are those scalloped kind of shapes. I'm just going to delete that. So now you can see I've got 2 parts. I've got the ornament and I've got the topper. So then what I want to do is change the size of the ornament to around about, eventually I'm going to get to 6, but I've just duplicated it. So I've got a whole photo because I'm going to do some splicing first. Sorry about that. Then I'm going to change the size. Now I want it to be, I'm going to start with about 5.5 centimeters, but I'll probably make it a little bit bigger as we go. I'll just start with that to begin with. But I'm trying to resize and fit the image of juniper inside that bauble. So that's the goal with it, is to have just our faces. So you can see with the photo of April and the photo of myself, we've got Juniper in the photo, but she's not looking. So if I can get one that's got a photo of her looking in the right direction, which is the first one where she's on her own, and try and fit it into that bauble. So I've played around with it, and now I'm going to select both the bauble and the image, and I'm going to click slice. So what I'll end up with is an ornament that's still red. I've got an ornament that's got Juniper's face in it, and then I've got the leftover. So I can just delete that. And now the next thing I want to do is to create the foam cutout shape as well as the frame cutout shape. So I've just selected a circle, and I'm making the circle the same width as the ornament. So it was 5.26 centimeters. So I've made the circle 5.26. And now I'm going to do a negative offset. Now the reason I want to do a negative offset rather than a positive one is just because I've already set the size of the circle. So what I can do is actually create the offset going on the inside, and then I've got that, still got the circle at the right size, and I can do a subtract. So I've made it a 0.34 or 35, a minus 0.345. And then you can see now that grey circle is inside the black circle. And then I just select both and I do I click on combine and subtract. And now that's going to be the foam part. I want to repeat that process, but this time I'm going to make it so it's thicker, because I'm going to put that in as a frame. So it's still going to be the 5.26 centimeter shape, or the width, sorry, but I'm going to actually make it a minus 0.5-ish offset. And so you'll see that that's a thicker circle, and that's going to be the top component. So it's going to be cut out of cardstock, and it's going to be, the reason I've made it bigger is so that I can definitely hide that foam. So what I'll end up with for each of us is a red card ornament component, a ornament component that is our image, and a card frame. Juniper's is going to have the foam frame as well. April's and mine are not going to have the foam or the shaker in it, so I'm not going to cut out foam for that. So Juniper's is going to have is going to have a black circle as well that's going to be cut out of foam. So I'm going to repeat that process exactly the same as I've done for Juniper, for April and myself, without doing the foam circle. So both are going to be the thicker circle, and then without the thinner one that's going to be the foam. Making sure that I check that the card frame that I'm making to go around each of the heads doesn't cut our faces off. So it's right on the edge there for all of us, because we have taken photos where, you know, we've spread it out to try and get some balance in our photo, but it doesn't really help me with this process. I've coloured each of the bits differently. So the red is going to be cut out of cardstock. The black is going to be cut out of foam, and obviously the images are going to be a print then cut. I've also got to get 3 sets of toppers. So that's the grey bit. And I could have downloaded the image a second time and then resized it to get that topper. But me being me, I decided to make it hard for myself, and I've just done it. I've duplicated it and then just done the sizing myself. So my tip is just to resize the whole ornament one to start with, and then work from there before you separate and do all of those kind of things. So I'm going to speed that process up. The one thing you do have to do as well that I forgot to start with is you need a circle that is the same size as your ornament for the shaker component of it. So I just need a 6 centimetre circle of acetate, and that's going to be white on our mat. So then I can cut that out as well, because that's going to make the shaker component, you need a back, which will have the photo of Juniper on it. Then you've got the foam, then you've got acetate, and then you'll have the frame, the cardstock frame over the top. So it's a very layered project, but you do need that circle, and I do forget to start with, but I just make sure that you do have that circle. So the one for April and myself, we don't have the acetate circle. You could if you wanted to, it just gives it that gloss, but I decided not to worry about it for this project. Now, once you've got all of the parts and you've separated them out into colours, I'm going to hit save. I'm going to save it as Christmas ornament card or Christmas shaker card. And then we're going to go through to make. Now, when you've got them on your mats, I've just moved all of the top components of the ornaments to the bottom of the mat, of the red mat, because I'm going to use gold cardstock for that. And then all the other components are going to be at the top, and they've got like a tartan red cardstock. And now that we're in there, you're going to do a print then cut. Make sure that you do add your bleed for your print then cut, and then also make sure that you have do a system dialogue, so then you can make sure that your quality is the best quality that you can. So depends on your printer, but I just have to choose best quality. Someone else might be able to manipulate it a little bit more, but you just make sure that you've got as much colour and as much ink going through it, because they are photos. So you can really tell if things aren't perfect, essentially. And you can see all the striping and the lines through it. So once you've done the print then cut, you're then also going to do the acetate. So the acetate, if you type into the browser materials and you just type acetate, it will come up with that option. I'm obviously just using the regular acetate, not the glitter one, but I don't know. I've never seen glitter acetate, but if you've got some, let me know what it looks like. You need to then go through and choose foam. So craft foam for the circle that's going to go on to Juniper's image. So that's the black circle. You'll need a deep point blade for that. So make sure that when you are starting this project that you're using a deep point blade, because the craft foam won't work. You could use foam tape if you wanted to, rather than craft foam and cut it out, but this just ensures you don't have any gaps. And then finally for your cardstock, it's just going to be a medium cardstock. It depends on the cardstock you use. If you use glitter, I would make sure I chose the glitter cardstock option, just because it's usually a bit thicker. To change the blade for this craft foam tape, so all you need to do is open up that B setting. You can see that I'm using the deep point blade, so it's got a longer blade than a regular housing. You just open that B clamp, take out the fine point blade, put the new one in and close that clamp up. Putting this together is pretty easy actually. The only fiddly bit is the foam and the hot glue. So to start off with, I'm just putting my face and April's face straight onto the backing cardboard there. So all I'm using is some glue tape. I got that from Shein. I love it. you can get it from Spotlight, you can get it from Office Works and stuff like that, but the Shein stuff is cheap and easy as. So if you're doing a Shein order, throw it in. Or Temu probably has the same stuff, but it's really strong, it's easy, comes in a 4-pack. So yeah, I would jump on that. So I've just put my photo straight on the backing, and now I'm just putting the frame component over the top. So now it kind of looks like a bit of a photo frame. And then the last step is just to put that topper on. And then I'll just repeat the same process with April's photo. So I'll just speed that bit up for you. Now, when it comes to Juniper's face, I'm going to put her face, like I did with April's and mine, I'm going to put her face straight onto the backing of the cardboard. So I'm going to start with that, but I'm actually going to cut off the top of that ornament from her photo. The reason is because we've got this foam between her photo and the backing, you're actually going to be able to see that top ornament bit. So I thought it'd be better if it is the cardboard backing rather than just random part of that photo. So I've just used scissors to cut that. If I was to do it again, I would just use a circle to do that on the Cricut so that it just cuts circles of all of our faces. But live and learn. So I'm going to do that. And then the next part is then to start adding your foam. So once I've stuck Juniper's face onto the backing, I'm going to use hot glue. Now, when I did my shaker cake topper, I started with craft glue, and the craft glue soaks into the craft foam and then doesn't stick properly. And so your little glitter bits or your shakers, whatever you're putting inside, don't stay in there because you've got holes everywhere. So I'm going to use hot glue. The issue with using hot glue with the craft foam is it does warp it a little bit, because if you've ever tried to heat craft foam, like with a lighter or anything, to kind of smooth it out, it actually melts quite easily. So the hot glue does do a little bit of melting. So it does warp it a little bit. I give kudos to anyone who can make these shaker things look so professional and so clean and tidy. I think that they're amazing. I just do it every now and then for this YouTube channel because I find them really fiddly, and they but I love them at the same time. So it's a really, it's a love-hate relationship. I love the outcome and I love when it looks finished, but sometimes the process frustrates me to all get out. But anyway, I'm going to do this bit by bit. The reason I want to do the foam down bit by bit is because hot glue dries so quickly, and I don't want it to be too bubbly. So I want it to be as smooth as possible. So I'm just doing a little bit at a time to go all the way around. And then the next step is to put our little shakers in. So I've got some stars. I got these from Spotlight as well. I think I forgot to mention them in the materials. But I've got these little stars. So there's red stars and gold stars, and I'm going to put in this one. You'll see at the end, I think I've put too much in here. But if it was a bigger pit, see, the issue is if you don't put enough in, it doesn't look like a shaker card. And if you put too much in, it just becomes shaker, no card. I think probably I could have maybe cut each of these down by about a quarter. But yeah, so you put your stars, your glitter. You can put cake sprinkles in here, especially because now you can get so many different colours of cake sprinkles. Spotlight have a whole range of different ones, so you could put them in there. You could put, I don't know, you can cut up bits of confetti, things like that. Great if you've if you know someone who recently got married and maybe they had confetti at their wedding, you could put the confetti in there and send that as part of your Christmas card. You know, anything really. You just need it to be small. So the next step is now to put the acetate. Now the acetate has got, it's like acrylic, where it's got some backing plastic on both sides. So make sure you've peeled that off before you place it down. And again, like I did with the craft glue, I'm just going to put it down bit by bit because I don't want it to dry too quickly and be lumpy. See how ugly this see how ugly the process is? If you are someone who makes these regularly, can you tell me how you can make it look less ugly in the process? Or am I just rushing it? Am I doing something wrong? Let me know in the comments below if you can see how I could improve this part of it. Eventually it looks fine. It looks neat and tidy, but you know, this bit, I've got acetate that's a bit, I've put it on too far over to one side, so I'm going to just use my scissors to cut that back. But yeah, see, I do have too much glitter. Look at it. Poor Junie. Poor Junie's face is covered, but that's okay. I can deal. Yeah, so I'm just using scissors there just to tidy it up. I'm cutting some of that glue, so see how that glue seeped a little bit, so cutting that off as well. I know I'm going to put the frame around it, but the frame is right to the edge, and maybe that's something I could fix too, rather than putting it all the way to the edge. I could maybe make the bauble a little bit smaller and make the frame bigger so that it really hides all of those warped little components. And now I'm just using that glue tape again for the cardstock frame. So I'm just doing a little tidy up, and then the last thing I need to do is just put that little gold topper on. I just need to use the glue tape again to just put that topper on. So that's the last step. So that's the last step for the bauble. And now it's a matter of putting it on the card. Now I'm going to use foam tape to put them on the card. The reason I'm going to do that is because I want them all to pop out. So at the moment, Juniper stands out obviously more than April and I, and that's the whole point of it. But what I want it to do is I want Juniper's to stick out even further, and then ours to also pop off the back of the card. So I'm just using a little foam tape. I got this from a shop called Shiploads down here in Tassie, but you can get this from Spotlight, you can get it online, you can get it from Officeworks too, I think. Lots of craft shops will have it too. So Amazon, anywhere. It's used a lot in card work. So if you're someone who wants to use their Cricut to get into this kind of area, you'll need that foam tape. It's a lifesaver, and it actually just really makes your card go from one level to the next because it's really amazing. So definitely get onto that. And so you can see there I'm just putting foam tape behind Juniper's. I put 3 pieces behind hers, and I put 2 behind mine and April's. And then my last step is just to use I've just got a fine line marker, and I'm just going to draw the little string that holds our baubles on. And then I think I'm going to add, because it just looks like lines, so I'm going to add little bows. So I'll add little bows to the top of each of these. It's okay. I think it's okay. I'm sure there's people out there that could do a much better job at that part of it, but I don't know, I don't mind it. I think Juniper's isn't great. Her bow doesn't really look like a bow as much as the one I did over April's head. But anyway, live and learn, play around. Like I said, these are homemade gifts that you can give people. So, don't be shy to show that it's homemade. God, that one looks like a fly or a bee or something. Oh, well, it's a bow, everyone. It's a bow. Deal. And then I'll just do another one on mine. I might write Merry Christmas. You could get your Cricut to do this. So if you go back and have a look at the card I did for my dad very early on in my YouTubing, I actually used the pen. So if you go back to that, you can have a look at that tutorial, and it will go through how to use your pen. to write on a card like this. Well, this is just too cute, isn't it? I have given Juniper a few too many glitter stars, but I think she deserves it. She's been a good girl this year. You could have used your Cricut to actually draw like the lines and things and write Merry Christmas if you wanted to as well. That could have been something to add to your design. But I think this is really cute. I think it's a really good project if you want to do something that is very personalised, if you want to do a bit of a Christmas card that is more of the present, and especially if you're giving gift cards and things like this is a great idea because you've got a little bit of something personal, and then people can go and use their gift card and think of your little card. Great project if you're beginning because it's using different offsets and getting shapes and things like that. Really good if you're trying to start to branch out with your acetate and doing cake shakers and things like that. They are a tricky little beast because there is it's a bit fiddly. But you know what? What's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't look all that great, but it looks homemade. That's what mine looks like. So I think that's okay. I really do think you should have a go at this, and it's a really great Christmas project. I hope you've enjoyed today's Cricut tutorial, and I can't wait to see you next week for another market vlog. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget you can always jump on my Instagram, head over to my Etsy store, or even check out the videos YouTube recommends for you down below.